Yo, what's up people? So today I'm going to be reviewing the Skytech Shiva gaming PC. Links to this product will be in description and timestamps are going to be in the comment section down below. This video is not sponsored by Amazon or Skytech. Obviously, take a look at my sub count, but maybe you could help me get a sponsored video one day. Feel free to subscribe and stick around. So I've had this PC for a couple months now, but before I bought it, I couldn't really find any good reviews on this particular model. And a few videos I did find, they didn't really do it for me. So if you're like me and you want to know everything there is to know about a product before you buy it, then this video is for you. So let's start with the specs. This is the Inwin 101 case, and my Skytech model comes with a PNY 2060 NVIDIA RTX GPU and an AMD Ryzen 2600 CPU. The motherboard is an Asus Prime B450 and it has the Cooler Master Hyper 212 Evo CPU cooler. 500 gig SSD, 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM at 3000 Hz, and 3 Skytech branded fans. The power supply is a Thermaltake 500 watt smart white model. This PC doesn't come with the fans at the bottom. I put those in a few weeks ago, and they are the Corsair ML120 Pro. So the price of this PC normally fluctuates between 1000 and 1200, but given the current GPU market, I suspect the price probably went up since then. So yeah, that's normally the price, but I mean, luckily for me, I got it on sale one night for like $900. So yeah, kind of got a great deal on this, not gonna lie. But I did do a comparison on PC Part Picker, and the price actually wasn't that far off. Now, I know a lot of people are against pre-built PCs, but in our current COVID GPU shortage situation, I suggest you kind of do what I did. Buy a decent pre-built so you at least get a graphics card, and then you can start replacing other parts where the company kind of cut corners. So in this case, it would be replacing the fans, getting more storage, and then replacing the RAM. So the reason I said my model is because after doing some research, the Skytech Shiva model doesn't have the exact same parts for every build. So the motherboard, GPU, and CPU cooler will vary between two brands. So you'll either get the Asus or ASRock B450 motherboard. Some models come with the Zotac Gaming 2060 GPU, but others come with the one that I got, which is the PNY Technology 2060 reference style card. Now I know everyone hates these types of cards, believe me, I've seen everything online, and before you click off, just give it a chance. You can even skip to the performance section if you want to. But if you're still here, you'll either get the AMD Wraith cooler that comes with the Ryzen CPU, or you get the Cooler Master CPU that I got. But both of these parts are, both of these brands are pretty capable. You can fit two 3.5 or 2.5 inch drives in the drive bays here at the front. As for the other side, you just unscrew the two screws at the top and you can lift off the side panel, and here's where your cables go, and the 3 extra 2.5 SSDs can go here. Now, I'm too lazy to unplug everything and actually turn this around, but there's 6 USB ports at the back, 2 at the top, an Ethernet port for a LAN cable, and the GPU has 3 display ports and 1 HDMI port. You can't get more than 60 Hz from the HDMI port, so if you want 144 Hz on your monitor, you're gonna have to use a display cable. And then at the bottom is a removable dust filter, but the fans are blocking it, but it looks like this on the Amazon page. So let's talk about performance. First, we'll talk about the FPS. Gaming at ultra, more linear and less graphic intensive games like Doom Eternal, Rainbow Six Siege, and even Titanfall 2, you'll get between 130 and 144 FPS, but for bigger and more open games like GTA 5, Division 2, I even tried Forza Horizon 4, it'll fluctuate between 70 and 90 FPS, like that's the highest it'll go. And the worst offender was Red Dead Redemption 2 on Ultra. It was between 20 and 40 FPS, and even when I put everything on low, it could still only get up to around 66 frames. But with this card, running games on high instead of Ultra, you'll get between 120 and 144 frames, so that's kind of the best balance between graphics and performance. And of course, on lower graphic settings, then you'll get that consistent 144 frames per second.
Another one down. And that's all of it. Down. Reloading. Mira, that was the last of that.
10,000 is fire.
Washington Hotel.
Okay, here we go. Head to the service entrance on the east side of the building.
Over here! What the fuck was that? Came from the building?
Once you're inside, find a way to the atrium.
So I've seen people say they don't like blower style cards because they're noisy, and I'll be honest, the only reason I know my PC's on is because of the fans that came with this PC. Also the lights, but yeah, this GPU is actually pretty quiet. I mean, it's fucking ugly. Like, God, has to be one of the worst GPUs I've ever seen. There is no branding at the sides or a back plate. There's only designs at the bottom, and you don't even see that. This is the literal definition of performance over looks. So it looks ugly, but trust me, it gets the job done. So while gaming, the temps range between 50 to 65 degrees Celsius, and over longer gaming sessions, it tend to go up to around 67, 79 degrees. And while idle, then the temps will drop down to 35 degrees. The Ryzen CPU temps, they can go up to around like between 59 and 67 while gaming, and then it'll idle at around 45 degrees. And of course, take these temperature readings with a pinch of salt, because you know we all live in different regions, so depending on where you are, it might be hotter or colder. These readings would be different for you, but you know, I monitor them, so I just thought I'd include them anyway. So next up is going to be the RGB lighting and the peripherals. There's not much to say here. It comes with a keyboard and a mouse, and I hate them. They're garbage. Don't use them. The keyboard cable is slightly bent, and the black started rubbing off of the keycaps after only 2 weeks of using it. It has 3 different preset RGB modes. It looks mechanical, but honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if this was membrane. I press buttons to take up loot in Apex, and people still manage to take it up before me, and while performing like a lot of actions, some key presses don't even register. The mouse is kind of heavy and it's small. It only has a max DPI of 2400. Like I said, they're both garbage. But they do have braided cables, which is nice. So if you don't have any extra peripherals, I suggest just buying those one time instead of using the ones that come with this PC. So the RGB fans come with a little remote. They're about 20 to 30-ish color modes. There's the standard colors here on the remote, and then once you keep pressing this button up here, it'll start cycling through the different modes. You can adjust between 3 different fan speeds. I don't know what RPM these fans are. I wasn't able to find any info online. As for noise level, when they're on low, you can't hear them like at all. On medium, they're kind of noticeable, and when you put them on high, then you definitely know that your PC is on. These fans are actually louder than the Corsair ML120 fans I have at the bottom. But I mean, I can kind of ignore that because I do love how bright they actually look inside the case. Now at the front of the case, it has a hidden power button under the logo panel right here, and this panel, when you first get your PC, is just going to be cycling on rainbow mode by default. To change this, download the Asus Aura app or the ASRock RGB software, depends on which motherboard you get. Just download the corresponding software, and it'll let you change the color of this logo strip at the front. It's very bright at night, so I tend to keep the color like halfway down so it shows up a bit darker. And if you don't like this on at all, you can just change the color to black, and this will turn off the color in this area. So final thoughts, is this worth buying? Absolutely. I It handles everything that I threw at it, games wise. And as for creative people, if you're like me, if you use Illustrator, After Effects, Premiere, and Photoshop, then it handles those fine and it renders pretty good. The only thing that this computer couldn't handle was Cyberpunk 2077, and I honestly wouldn't say that that was kind of the PC's fault. Cyberpunk was an unoptimized piece of garbage, so yeah, I'll kind of forgive it for not being able to handle that game. Now, as far as cons, I do have a few things that I don't like. One of my front USB ports came not working. I mean, it's not a huge deal because I have 6 in the back, but you know, you spend $1,000 for a PC, you kind of expect everything to work. Secondly, there's no Wi-Fi card, unfortunately. So you have to use a LAN cable. If you want to use Wi-Fi, I think you're gonna have to buy one of those Wi-Fi adapters separately. And lastly, not a huge deal, this is kind of me nitpicking, but carrying the PC feels kind of weird because the dust filter runs along the bottom, so you have to hold it by the feet and they're a bit wobbly, so the PC is kind of weird to move and carry around. But once you set it down, the weight kind of rests on the feet and it's sturdy, it doesn't move around once it's flat. So that's my review of the Skytech Gaming Shiva pre-built PC. I think there were other versions available, if I remember correctly. I'll link them down below, but if you enjoyed this video, leave a like and comment down below what you think about this PC, and also I guess how I did on my first tech review. Yeah, I'm not gonna say subscribe for more tech reviews because I don't buy PCs that often, but this is a gaming channel, so if you do like to play Apex or like game reviews and guides, then you can feel free to subscribe and check out my other content. But thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next video.